Hey, what's going on, guys? It's SAHSGaming and bringing you something different, something other than hockey. This is MLB 2K13. This game just released on Tuesday, so March 5th. Um, and I waited a little bit to do this video because I wanted to give the game enough time to really say what I thought of the game. So this is kind of a review, but I feel like nobody really does this. Nobody ever really puts up them doing a fantasy draft, and I'm big on fantasy drafts for the reason being, you know, I, whenever it comes to the season and whenever we're late into the baseball season, that's whenever I want to play with the Cardinals because I want to play with a lineup that reflects what I watch. But usually leading up to the season, I play with a fantasy team because I think it's more fun. It's you get to play with players you don't typically play with. So yeah, I'm doing a fantasy draft right now, and I'll bring you guys some gameplay. But in this video, it is only the fantasy draft, but I will talk about the gameplay. Um, you know, this game is getting a ton of stick for the fact that people think that it's MLB 2K12.2 or just a roster update, whatever you want to call it. People just don't think that this is any different of a game than it was last year. Now, after playing about 10 to 15 games, I gotta say, I'm a fan of it. I didn't buy this game. What I did was rented it. Reason being, I didn't want to shell out the $60 and be disappointed. I had seen a lot of mixed reviews about, some people said, yeah, we noticed new stuff, and then you obviously have those people that say, no, this game's no different. It's just a roster update with the Astros added to the AL. So what I did was I rented it, and I bought MLB The Show for the PS3. Um, you know, I do this pretty much every single year. I buy the show in hopes that the game has changed, um, but it never does. It's always pretty much a big letdown for me. Don't get me wrong, the game is amazing to look at. It's fun to play every once in a while, but it lacks something. I really can't pinpoint what it is about the show, but it lacks the fun factor that gets me to come back and play. Now, 2K has something about it in every single game, whether it be NBA or whenever they were making NHL and then MLB. They have something about their games that makes me want to come back and play. Once again, I don't know what it is because, I mean, unless we're talking about NBA, graphically, it's not because these games are great eye candy. Um, they don't look awful, but obviously they are not up to any EA Sports game. They're not up to uh, the show. So it's not the graphics that does it. I think that what a big part of the success um, for 2K is their interface and their batter pitcher um, meetings, if that's what I want to say. I don't even know. But I feel like the showdown between the pitcher and the batter is so well put together that it makes just for a tremendous game. That's the only thing I can think of because the show they've got the throwing meter for throwing to bases and they have the swing stick, but I just feel like with 2K, I don't know, it's just a different game. For some reason, it draws my attention a hell of a lot more than the show does. I played the show for probably about 5 6 games, and then I had to put it down because it bores me after a while. I think another thing that 2K has over the show is the commentary, and that's across all of their games. Their commentary is flawless. It is amazing how at the start of the season, with the franchise that I've got going right now, they're talking about last year's stuff, and they playing with the Cardinals, they're talking about how we came back against the Nationals, and then how we slipped it up against the Giants. And hearing that type of stuff is really cool. And they also have announcers that are pleasing to listen to. There's no, I don't know. I feel like with the show, Matt Vasgersian is very monotone, so it's tough to really get into what he is saying. And then you've got, I believe, Brian Campbell, who sounds like a complete moron if you ask me. But I don't like the show. I don't like the show because of their commentary. I don't like it because of their controls. But what the show does have is it is incredible to look at. If you ever want to show off the PS3 to somebody, pop in the show, and I guarantee that their jaw will drop because it does. It looks fantastic. But you know, looking at something can only go so far if you're going to play a 162 game season. I've personally never accomplished that. The farthest I've ever come is about a month after the All-Star break, and then I don't know really why I quit, because at that point, you're starting to get into the point to where your stats have, they've kind of leveled out, and now you can know what players are going to be doing for the season, and you can start making trades, and you're getting close to the postseason, and then after that, you got the off season, which is always fun. But if you're going to play a 162 game season, for one, you're going to need good commentary. You're going to need a fun game, because if you're only playing a game because of the way it looks, it's in the end you're only going to play so many games because it's no longer fun, and the 162 game season is a huge grind, and if you are doing that with a game that's not fun, it won't last. So anyways, let's talk about 2K's gameplay. If I've noticed anything that has changed. Right off the bat, I'll just say yes. Albeit subtle, it's definitely there. Their animations have definitely smoothed out. I feel like the hit variety is much better. I feel like the way that the ball comes off the bat is improved. I feel for some reason it could just be because I'm playing on pro right now until I can get into the swing of things, but I feel like the pitchers are making me look, pants on my head, retarded. I am having the hardest time not striking out. You guys saw me draft Giancarlo Stanton. I believe he leads the league right now in strikeouts. I mean, he has a good average right now so far, but I'm striking out a ton with my team. And, I'm not going to lie, I'm free swinging. I'm pretty much swinging at every single pitch because I don't have the eye to pick up what's a ball and what's a strike quite yet. So I do feel like the pitchers have improved with what they throw, and that's me saying that on pro. Typically, I would dominate pro, and games would be 10-12 nothing. But so far through the 10 to 15 games, they have been pretty close, picking up lots of saves, and that's what's fun to me. Being able to actually draft a closer and then utilize him and be rewarded for that. Whereas, if I was normally playing on pro, you're up 10-0. You no longer have a save opportunity. So, having that 90-plus closer is then rendered pointless because, you might as well just let your starter go the full 9, and then he can pick up a complete game shutout. But I do find a lot of fun in, it sounds crazy, but I find a lot of fun in giving up runs, giving up homers, and yeah, I feel like overall the pitchers have gotten a lot better. As far as I keep seeing this on forums, on Operation Sports, and on 2K forums, that there's this anticipation setting that you can change, and it'll make for a much more realistic fielding experience. So far, it's been pretty good. Obviously, every once in a while, you get that ball hit up the middle, and you don't even have control over your fielder, and he's already diving. Whenever that happens, it's a little unsatisfying, but I feel like that only happened the first game, and ever since then, I haven't noticed it. I've noticed that, the ball's put in play. I then have complete control over my player, and trying to get that diving play is tough as it would be in real life. So I feel like it's been pretty fun playing with the two middle guys I've got up the middle, with whether it be Brendan Ryan or JJ Hardy. I feel like it's been pretty fun. And I draft players like Brendan Ryan not because he can hit, but just because he's amazing at defense, something that you definitely need in your lineup. Now, I feel that with 2K, I don't know. Hold on. Let me set that aside. I'll come back to that in a minute. But anyways, with 2K and the way that they have their fielding, I feel like it's really rewarding to have a player like Brendan Ryan. Whereas in the show, I feel like the fielding interface, the batting interface, and the pitching interface just isn't up to par with the show. Or I mean, with 2K. Sorry. I feel that with 2K is arcadey. Let's just say that 2K is an arcadish game. You've got players like Giancarlo Stanton who have 99 power. Okay, you don't see that in the show. But that's what I want to talk about next. And with it being arcadey, you have a player like Scott Rowland, Brendan Ryan. Those are key players if you're looking for a defensive substitution in the late innings. If you're looking for somebody who could possibly save you a run by having that little bit of range and being able to count on them to not overthrow. That is what I feel is sweet about 2K. But now what I wanted to get to about something that I think has changed a little bit. I could be wrong. It could again be the fact that I have not gotten up to par with how I can normally hit. But I feel like in every other 2K, if a player had power, he was the greatest player you could ask for. Your players like Paul Konerko and Jim Tomei and Mark Reynolds, those were your players that you would draft in the late rounds because that you could bring them off the bench or start them and pretty much count on a guaranteed home run, because in 2K, you got a power swing, you got a contact swing, and you got a defensive swing. Well, because I feel like it's much more rewarding to just pull back and flick forward, I power swing on everything. It might hurt me playing like that with players like Derek Jeter or something like that. Maybe it hurts me there, but I feel like overall that's probably how the game should be played, because I just feel like it's a better swinging motion on the stick. I don't know. That's how 2K used to be. There was no contact. There was no defensive swing. It was just a swing stick, and it was back and forth, and that felt awesome. So typically, I just power swing on everything. But in previous years, if you had a player like Konerko and you were power swinging, that 90 plus power was all that you needed. You didn't need contact. You didn't need to have an eye on the player. All you needed was that power, and you could hit home runs for days. He would rack up a 400 batting average and hit 90 home runs. That's how I feel like it used to be. One thing I've noticed this year is that so far with playing with Giancarlo Stanton, dude's got 99 power. He's got 98 against righties, and he's got 99 against lefties. So he's got a ton of pop, but he lacks in the contact category. And I've noticed that. I've noticed that I'm not squaring up the ball near as much as what I used to be able to if it were a player like his caliber in any previous 2K. I feel like now that contact rating is starting to maybe affect the way that they can square up the ball. I might be wrong. Once again, it could just be the fact that I'm just not up to par with my hitting. But that's so far my impression on the way the hitting has changed. I feel like in previous 2Ks, a player with 63 power was almost never going to hit a home run. Almost never. And this resorts back to players with 90 plus power but low contact could hit home runs for days, and then players with low contact and low power just weren't going to hit. If they were going to hit, it was like a bloop single, up the middle or right over the first baseman's head, third baseman's head, whatever. I felt like that was just the way that went. But so far, it's been pretty fun. A-Rod has got low stats, and, against righties, I believe it's 64 contact, 63 power. But he's leading my team in home runs so far, and I feel like that's just really rewarding. I feel like that's been a big difference, something that I've noticed. So far, my impressions on the game, definitely a buy. I'm going to return it, and then I'm probably going to pick it up because I don't want to continue paying $2 a day for a game that in the end I'm just going to buy. So far, definitely a pickup. But that could possibly change, but I doubt it. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys. Look forward to showing you guys some gameplay with this team that I just drafted. Have a good one.